there was always a question. This government came on the back of claims that democracy suffered in the hands of Hasina. So now, do you mean that there has been any improvement or deterioration from that?
Well, I would say, unfortunately, the situation has deteriorated. During 111 period, the regime at that time was trying to exclude two leaders, namely Khaleda Zia and Sheikh Hasina. This time, it seems the regime is trying to exclude four major political parties.
Hi, this is Pratim Ranjan Bose, and you are watching podcast with Pratim presented by Iravati Research and Communication Center or IRCC. I have with me Professor Lieutenant Colonel Nazmul Ahsan Kalimullah from Bangladesh. Dr. Kalimullah is the founder and chairman of National Election Observation Council, or in Bengali, JANIPOP. It's Eid holidays in Dhaka, so special thanks to Professor for joining the show. Welcome to you, sir.
Thank you. Greetings to you as well.
Sir, Dr. Yunus has finally announced a firm timeline for election that is in the first fortnight of April 2026. Normally, it should be the job of the Election Commission to decide on the timing, but we know in Dhaka it's all about when the interim government wants the election. We know that in the past, Yunus administration was non-committal about election. Islamic parties led by Jamaat and student leaders of, or some student leaders of July uprising, who have now come under the National Citizen Party or NCP, were not keen for election. But BNP, the largest party after Awami League, was keen for election, and normally so. So they wanted it by December. The army chief too, last month, we are told, as we saw in media, kind of issued a wanted it the election to be held by December. Also, viewers, for viewers, ideally it's very good for Bangladesh to hold by the first week of January, because then starts a lot of school exams. Then in February, the Ramadan fasting starts. In March, Eid, and then also I believe there are some other windows also. If you hold the election in April, that means you have to do the campaigning and etc. in March, when people are on February and March when people are on fasting. So I know that January, the elections are traditionally held in Bangladesh in January, and there was a reason for that. So anyway, now as things stand now, that the election, the Awami League is banned from, not only from electoral politics, but it is as per the Bangladeshi laws, which Professor can say better. I think as per Bangladeshi laws, it's trying to take their name even. Jatiyo Party, the third largest party in terms of 2009 vote share. We are referring to 2009 because there had been a lot of questions about elections held under Hasina. 2014, 2018, and 2024. So we are referring to 2009 results. So that they were the third largest party, and over the last 10 months, they were not included in any dialogue, and there are demands for banning them too. But the most strange thing is that the interim government, interim administration doesn't bother much for the BNP, which is now the largest party. BNP's interests or views over that of the newborn, does not get priority. When compared to the newborn NCP and Jamaat, which had historically got a maximum of 4% vote in in the democratic run since 1991. So, given all this, and Dr. Yunus recently during his visit in Japan referred BNP as a party. He said that only one party wants election, kind of. So it's not one party, it's the biggest party anyway. And on the December 6th, the day when Dr. Yunus announced the election during his Eid, it was a speech for Eid greetings, but he pushed a lot of things, kind of campaigning for his government. And BNP immediately came out with a press release. This was the sharpest criticism they have ever made to the Yunus administration. The press release, signed by Senior Joint Secretary Mr. Rijvi, said, quote, chief advisor's use of language had crossed the limits of political decency. Sir, a couple of questions. Now, what kind of election you are looking forward to where, practically the large political players are either not taken care of or pushed out of the system or are virtually left in the cold? And I'm asking this because for last 15 years, everyone in Bangladesh complained about quality of elections in Hasina era. So now what kind of an election you are looking forward to? So let me start with this first question. What kind of election you are looking forward to? Over to you, sir.
Well, thank you very much. I would like to convey Eid greetings to all the viewers from Dhaka. And with reference to this Eid al-Azha, I mean, Professor Yunus, the interim head of the government, addressed the nation on the eve of Eid Day. And in that address, he came up with a schedule, i.e., the 13th parliament election would be held in the first half of April 2026. So, that has attracted the attention of all the political actors who are active on the ground. They came up with quick comments, and the ANP sort of didn't give a warm welcome. Instead, they decided to show a cold shoulder and came up with a very critical press release. Jamaat was forthcoming, Jamaat-e-Islami come, because their demand was to schedule the election in the month of April 2026. Minor parties such as NCP or Khilafat Muslim outfits, they welcomed away. However, almost all the left-leaning political parties, centrist political parties, they are critical about the timing. And all these parties, especially 12 parties, they termed this schedule as kind of quote-unquote April Fool. The kids till to date in the subcontinent schools in the month of April, the first day, they try to befool each other. So they this gesture or announcement as kind of April Fool gesture. And some of us, we came up with comments in different talk shows, and Pro Yunus handpicked less persons like that. This it's a serious matter. You cannot equate it with April Fool, per se. Whatever criticism you come up with, which is very much in the fold of what we say, plural space or democracy, in the eyes of Yunus Lespenses, everyone should come up with compliments to Yunus. They should try to sort of pamper him rather than criticize him. You know, and in such a way, I would say that they have targeted even anchors such as Mr. Panna. He is a very popular, uh, I would say, anchor, online anchor. Uh, they're also critical about Mr. Masood Kamal, another popular anchor, because
Journalist.
the beauty lies on their part is that they are conducting their activities on the ground, sitting in Bangladesh, not like other online anchors who are broadcasting from North America or Europe, or for that matter, Australia and Middle East, or for that matter, India or Turkey. So, those who are
So,
operating from
so, so,
abroad,
so,
they are beyond the reach of the mob perpetrators of Prophet Yunus.
so
You see,
my question was, what kind of an election will it be when the smallest of small
people have serious
parties
doubts
are.
about the quality of election. You know, if you clearly give this message to people at large that you have sided with Jamaat Islam because their demand was April, so listen to their demand, complied with their demand, not the largest political party on the ground, which is active, i.e., Bangladesh Nationalist Party, and its allies. You didn't give a damn to their sentiment, to their demand. So, you try to hint to people at large through your spokesman, Mr. Shafiq, that you are a man of power. You say that is final. So, before the announcement of April schedule, uh, Shafiq used to propagate that the election will be held within. So now, with this shift or change of schedule, how would you sort of consider Professor Yunus as a man who sort of adheres to his own commitment? You see, it's kind of a political maneuver, very subtle, in a very subtle manner.
So
No
in
doubt
my
about that.
understanding, even if BNP wins this election, which they should under normal circumstances,
Yeah,
uh, their win will always be questionable because some of the participants, the biggest opponent was simply not there. Uh, it was so it is unfortunate, but
right.
the outcome will be questioned. The second problem is that now, do you
Right.
believe? I'm sure that Awami League and Jatiyo Party, even if they are banned, Jatiyo Party is not banned yet, but as I said, that they are not taken into any kind of consideration. They are kept out of the system almost. So I assume
That's
that
right.
they will try to field, independent nominees. But do you think that even it will be a kind of that much of political space will be granted?
I don't think so because this regime doesn't believe in pluralism. There are new type of uh, Mussolini style uh, activists. They take resort to mob culture, and if you differ, if you don't toe, then you are a target. That's why they've targeted Mr. Panna. That's why they're trying to target Mr. Masood Kamal. And that's why they're trying to come up with counter narratives about my assertion. You see, if you always there to come up with praiseworthy sort of package with reference to Professor Yunus, you are fine. You are a gentleman. You are a good person. You are man of integrity. If you differ, then you are a dangerous person. You are against the Nobel laureate. He's a world-class player,
So,
and
sir, are you saying that there was always a question, this government came on the back of claims that democracy suffered in the hands of Hasina, right? Now, and
yep,
many people criticized the democratic practices under Hasina. There were many.
right,
Uh,
fair enough.
so now, do you I mean, do you mean that there has been any improvement or deterioration from that?
Well, I would say, unfortunately, the situation has deteriorated. Hasina regime used to take resort to uh, our police, state within state actors, our less Spencers, and Professor Yunus and his cronies. They are sort of vicious. They are sort of even hiring, encouraging Les Spencers who are sitting in abroad to sort of intimidate and provoke anyone who differs with this regime. Lately, Human Rights Watch has come up with a very critical statement with reference to this current state of affairs.
So why do you think that the UN representative, I find nowadays, she says, the local representative has said that inclusive election is possible without Army League. Then includes, kind of affirmative statements are coming out from the UN, and the West is completely silent about it. If there has been further backsliding of the democracy or democratic freedom, which political freedom is an important critical thing, yeah, a pillar of the democratic freedom, by the way. So then why they are silent, or why they are kind of approving it?
Well, the first uh, sort of
Because the same
person
institutions have been
who came
extremely
up
critical. Only
with an assertion like this was the head of the delegation of the European Union, Mr. Michael. He stated that it is the prerogative of Bangladesh government to come up with the election schedule, and they have no sort of intention to pressurize the government for an early election. You see, uh,
no, I'm
and
not talking
second in
simply
line
about
with
election. You see, you banned Army League,
of
fine. You
UNDP, he sort of stated that inclusive election means inclusion of people, not necessarily political parties. She didn't mention the name of Awami League or Jatiya Party, but she came up with a new narrative. You see, will definitely encourage this regime to interpret it in their favor.
so it means if the legitimacy of this election will depend on the popular participation or the polling rate.
Right.
Now that polling rate can be up under different for different reasons. Firstly, BNP supporters will obviously try to vote and to bring their party. They will surely do, and many people who may not even like would love they, for just to save their skin, they will go. It may so happen that they will, I was recently in Bangladesh, and I saw that minorities said that they have to vote this time to save their own kind of, to prove that they are not merely a voters of Awami League. So that is what I heard from them. So are you saying that the government is simply depending on that, and the UN and everyone is approving that? And how about, it's fine. You are punishing criminals is fine, but how come you are banning a political party and releasing some war crime criminals, and trying that party that same international court tribunal? How are things? I mean, it looks odd, very odd. But how such things are passing the global scrutiny?
To be honest, government has kept it in abeyance. They didn't put a ban, complete ban, on Awami League and its front organizations. They said till the trial is on, there will be kind of a moratorium, and they are sort of doing this policy of keep it in abeyance, you see, and also kind of a piloting. I mean, they're trying to measure the reaction in home and abroad. And if they find it not saleable, then definitely they might come up with a new strategy. Till then,
So I remember you said in a previous podcast that it's a trial and error formula.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
It
In
depends.
one of your recent podcasts, you said about -4 formula or strategy. Now, it struck me because last time we heard was -2 during the army-backed government period, when there was a plan or there was a proposal, and the army boss felt that Hasina and Khaleda Jia should be thrown out of politics, should be exiled, and they tried to send them out, but it didn't happen that way. So you were saying it's -4. Now I tried to guess. Well, Awami League is out. Maybe Jatiyo Party is out. So what about the -4? Who are the others? What is your idea? I mean,
in that episode, 111 regime, the then election commission led by Dr. A.T.M. Samsul Huda was instrumental in bringing such reform. Younger brother of Nobel laureate Professor Dr. Yunus, late Muhammad Jahangir, used to be an anchor of a program in Bangladesh television. It was entitled Dhaka. And myself, along with Mizar Rahman, one columnists of Pratim, we participated, and we sort of raised this question to the discretion of the then election commission, that they are not doing the right thing. They are intruding to the territory of politicians. A constitutional body cannot intend to do so. And we did that with the help of the younger brother of Professor Yunus. And this time, I believe, if Professor Yunus has little respect for his younger brother, deceased brother, he would stop doing such thing. During 111 period, the regime at that time is trying to exclude two leaders, namely Khaleda Jia and Sheikh Hasina. This time, it seems the regime is trying to exclude four major political parties, namely Awami League, Jatiyo Party. They've already been excluded or kept in abeyance. And next target is BNP, and the final target is Jamaat-e-Islami. Lately, the government has come up with a gadget, branding Jamaat and parties like Muslim League as parties which opposed the independence of Bangladesh. So putting a tag on de jure basis against Jamaat and creating the ground for sort of disgrace, put a stigma on Jamaat,
Do you think it's
and
a trap?
eventually
It's a
paving the
trap. They
way
would
for
like to go
excluding
after
Jamaat
being a
as well.
leader. It's a trap, you say.
Yeah, that's right. And
So then why
BNP,
Jamaat is
BNP
so
is
why
now
Jamaat has been so
targeted.
bad here about this government?
The policy is like set a thief to catch a thief. Trying to divide and rule. Putting Jamaat against BNP and vice versa. And in the process, both the parties would be sort of, in the wrong end, and the space should be created for NCP. Professor Yunus is the mentor of NCP. With his patronage, with his moral support, with his material guardianship, this party is trying to sort of organize themselves. And Professor Yunus considers the proponents of this party as his employers. And this is his turn to pay them back. They sworn in Professor Yunus as the head of the government. So on his part, he's trying to pay them back.
It's a, it's a very interesting situation. Yeah, you're right. I mean, that is what I also mentioned in the beginning about the first three. You pushed out two parties out of the system, and then you are not taking care of the biggest party that is in fray. You are referring them as a party. It is not as a party. It is the party.
So,
So,
principal.
Professor, very quickly, we are about to wrap it up. Where did things go wrong? Whom should you blame the most for this? Should it be BNP for losing the track? Were they a little bit complacent? They were supporting this government. They were not not raising their voices in the first 7, 8 months. It is only now that they are when probably they have been under the most stress. So that is when they are reacting. So what did go wrong, and where should you think that things will go from here? Should BNP come down on the streets? Should BNP be raising their voices further? Should they stick to December deadline? What is your expectation?
Well, BNP demanded that the election should be held in March to start with. Then they said that there should be given appropriate time frame. But it's a never-ending time frame. So they had to come up with this schedule that election must be held within December, and it coincided with the demand of the Chief of Army Staff, and his cutoff date is he wants to see new government on 1st of January 2026. And he stated in his interview with AFP in the beginning that military is ready to cooperate and collaborate and help the regime for 18 months. And that ends in December. And there is no guarantee they will continue to support this government after December. They want to see an elected government in January 2026. So, people like me or Panna, we all supported this assumption of power of the post-revolutionary government. And we were critical about Awami League regime. You see, I had to face a lawsuit under the Digital Security Act because of my position. Fortunately, I won the case.
Yeah, I know about that
Otherwise,
episode
I
in
would be
Hasina's period.
behind. I would have been behind the bar. So you cannot just brand people like us or Panna as pro previous regime. People, an individual like us, parties like BNP or left-leaning political parties or even CPB, our expectation was sky high. And unfortunately, Prof. Yunus could deliver a little.
Thank you so much, Professor, for coming on a holiday.
You're welcome.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.